now we're going to start talking about the actual 5 love languages that he wants to introduce to us in this book. And they are words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. And we'll be talking about each one of these. So the first one that we're going to talk about is words of affirmation.
Can you just say something good to me? Say something that makes me feel appreciated, respected. Give me some words of adoration, uplifting. Help me with my self-actualization. I really need to hear that kind of stuff. But you know, it's amazing how many people say, well, if you need to hear that, evidently you got some self-esteem challenges. I'm not here to build up your ego.
People say that? Wow.
Well, all I'm going to say is what the great philosopher said.
What?
Pump me up. That's what I need. Tell me.
Okay. You know, and this is one way you can express your express love emotionally, is to use words that build people up. They talk about Solomon. You know, he has a lot of scriptures in here, and he talks about how Solomon wrote, "The tongue has the power of life and death, and an anxious heart weighs a man down, but a kind word cheers him up." Verbal compliments and things of that nature are powerful communicators of love. And I think if we'd realize that, especially the part about the tongue has the power of life and death, and we think about their scripture as it relates to ourselves. But I don't know how many of us think of it as it relates to our spouse and how we speak to them, how we talk to them, you know, the types of words we use. Are you giving life to your spouse, or are you providing them just a little bit more emotional death?
Are you killing them? Are you killing them softly? With everything you say? And for men, I is one, so I'll talk about this. For men, this can really be interesting because we oftentimes, after the courting phase, through part of the in-love experience phase, we somehow have exhausted all of our words of affirmation for our spouse. Our affirmation dictionary has been depleted. That word bank is now empty. I've used them all. I've come to the end of the internet, and I don't have anything else that I can provide about that. So I'm not going to say anything, but I want you to make sure you give me all the words of encouragement and affirmation that that woman can muster. And whatever you do, even if you have to repeat yourself, don't stop giving them. And so it can be unfair for a woman oftentimes in the relationship because the man will just stop giving any sort of words of affirmation to his wife. He feels like, well, hey, you got me now. What more do you need? But I want to make sure you keep telling me what I need to hear.
You know, the object of love is not getting something you want, but it's doing something for the well-being of the one that you love. You know, when we receive affirming words, we're far more likely to be motivated to reciprocate, which means that as I provide Charles with words of affirmation, courage words, encouraging words, all the positive words, then he's more apt to do the same for me. And therefore, now your conversation can be just a little bit more pleasant.
It is. Pleasant, that is.
Now, don't just try to flatter him or him or her to get what you want. That's not it. The object of love, as I said before, is not getting something. It is doing something that's going to be beneficial to your spouse, which means that we have to actually be unselfish.
No.
Yeah.
And you've got to look, and we can't say it enough, you've got to look into the eyes emotionally of what your spouse needs and what they want. And you can't always think about it as, oh, I'm making this sacrifice for you. I'm doing you this great favor to do this for you. No, you're really making a sacrifice for yourself. When you do for your spouse, the sacrifice that you make is for yourself, such that, now follow this now, such that you can create an environment that they can exist in. Because if not, you will be miserable.
Extremely.
You with me? And you can't always give people the impression that if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have to do this. But be glad Thank the Lord above.
That I'm taking pity on you.
That I'm taking pity and I'm doing this for your sake. Doesn't do anything for me, but I'm doing it for you.
Oh, that is so funny. Okay, there are different types of words.
Okay.
Like you can have encouraging words.
You're wonderful.
Yeah, but he uses encourage as to inspire courage.
You're courageous.
Yeah, you can do it. You're awesome. You're the
love you.
best thing since instant coffee.
I'm going out right now. I'm doing something. I don't know what it is.
Now, all of us have areas where we feel insecure. Who better to lift me up than my spouse?
And when you get married, do you know you all have now entered into that sort of exclusive right to encourage each other in only a way that you can encourage each other. You know, you should really be at a point where the only person who can encourage you with more response and more reaction than your spouse is the Lord, the encouragement that you get from the Lord. But next, your spouse should be the one, you know, if I need encouragement, I go to the Lord and I call my wife. You know, if I'm not feeling well, I go to the Lord and I call my wife. Hey, baby, say something good to me. Just talk to me. You know, I'm having a challenging day today. So I'm already prayed to the Lord, but I need to hear some lips talking to me sometimes.
An actual voice.
Yeah, and these lips are the lips I'd rather hear speaking into my ear than anybody else. So I go to the Lord, then I call what the Lord has given me. I call my wife and say, honey, say something to me. Just tell me that you love me.
Right.
And boy, and I tell you, those two things can get me through the day, because you know what? I'm excited about getting home and seeing the one who gave me that extra pump me up to get me through the day.
Pump you up. I like pumping you up. Now, before you can do all that, first you have to learn what's important to our spouse.
Right.
So you don't want to give encouraging words if it's not important to them.
If it's not encouraging.
Exactly. So, you know, they may have, let's say there's just some potential that you know that they have, and they're just, they haven't reached it yet. So the more we encourage, the more we say, you know, you can do it. You know, you've been to school for this. Just get out there, step out on it. I believe you're going to make it. Then, you know, outside of them praying to the Lord and us agreeing with the Lord, then that can really cause people to move to levels and realms that we have no idea that they could go to.
Well, encouraging words mean that you believe me. And sometimes I need the belief that you have because I don't have enough of that belief for myself.
You know, while we're talking about words of affirmation, there are also kind words.
Okay.
You know, it says love is kind.
It is.
It is. So if we're going to communicate love verbally, we have to use kind words. Now that's like how you speak. You know, I can say, I love you. Or I can say, I love you.
Boy, I love you.
I love you.
I love me some her.
I love me some her. So when I say I love you, and I say it with kindness, and you can feel it, the emotion comes through in the words.
It's a butter word. Like butter.
Like butter. Now, because to be honest, our spouse sometimes interprets our message by the tone of our voice and not just what we say.
Those ancillary cues.
Yeah.
That's why a written word sometimes doesn't convey the same message as a spoken word. And a spoken word face-to-face conveys a message that a spoken word over a phone or some other medium can't express. So when you all are sitting face-to-face, kind words not only appear kind through the voice, but through the inflection, through the body language, because we're actually engaged holistically into that part of a conversation. You know, when you begin to hear things that have the potential of touching your heart, I believe you reach out with your heart to hear and listen. You reach out with your heart to experience what is said. And I believe that's why kind words are so powerful, because it actually draws the heart out of that person so that they can experience what you're talking about and what you're saying. And so now you have been invited into another place in their life because of the words that open the door to their heart.
And you know, it says that a soft